Am I too complex for complex?
Alright, this is episode 4 of the Good Podcast. We got 25 over here. Everybody gonna say their name. I'm Real Just In Case.
I'm Keep It Slim, the other host, but these are guest co-hosts. So we got Jamila.
Hey y'all.
We got Mike Jesus. I want to say White Jesus. And we got Moose over here.
Yo, what's up?
So, we have these are our guest co-hosts. So we're going to let them just introduce themselves a little bit.
You introduced them.
I'm talking about just give a little background.
Intro part.
So we got Jamila. This is like my sister right here. So this is like folks. We know each other since how long?
2000? Since high school.
Like 10, what was it, 10th grade?
Yeah,
you came to Lincoln
grade.
in 10th grade.
Yeah, I
got a
wasn't there
whole
freshman
family.
year. I showed up 10th grade.
Right.
Y'all adopted me. Y'all took me into the family. So, yeah, we got like 18 years in the barn.
This my folks right here.
That's dope.
Yep. And then we got Mike Jesus. I'm going to let him
Mike
tell you what he
Jesus.
got going on. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Jesus, that's M-I-C Jesus. Just putting stuff out on YouTube. You check me out on my YouTube channel, Mike Jesus. I cornered the market. All you gotta do is put that in and I pop up. Putting out singles, getting the word out there. Instagram, Facebook. Just getting my hustle on right now. Happy to be here.
What you got out already?
I got a couple tracks. Did my first video with SLH. Did the great job holding on. It's my first video. It came out. It hits home with me. It's about the opioid epidemic that's going on because I was trapped in that for years, you know, and I got out of it. So I figured, like, when I found my calling, like from God, said go back to music because I used to do it in my 20s, and then when I got my calling, I was like, yo, it's now or never. Now use your ability for something good. So
Right.
yeah,
So you just saying
first
put the
video.
30s away.
That's Mike
You know what I mean? You go down that road, it's crazy. It's wild out there.
Right.
Don't mind him. He the devil.
That's
He's
cool.
sitting next
It's
to
cool.
the devil.
Oh man, I know many a
That's why it's so
devil.
hot right
Yeah.
here.
Right. That's the devil. And we got Moose.
Yes.
Main man Moose. Now, I don't know Moose like that, but this is Lanice, the magic behind everything. This is her people.
Lanice
He
with the
came
magic.
through, and the reason he came through is because he wanted to start his own podcast. He wanted to see how it was done, and he wanted to show love. So you can let him know what you got going on.
I'm working on a podcast, and I'm just kind of like learning ins and outs right now. But I got my name for the podcast already, and I got a few things set up. It's going to be called The Plug, and it's coming soon. So just stay tuned for it.
Yep.
We gonna be on it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So I'm gonna tell you how Mike Jesus and my sis Jamila got on this podcast because we was talking about the Kanye stuff. I posted something on the bed. I posted this thing, and me and Un was in agreement with what he said on TMZ, or we understood him. That's what we said. We understood him.
What he was trying to
What
say.
he was trying to say. So Jamila hit me up, and we had like a little back and forth or whatever about it. So I said, all right, come on the podcast. We're going to talk about it. Mike Jesus hit me up. I don't know him from a can of paint, but he showed love, and he said, I would love to be on the podcast. So that's what we have here now. Everybody on the podcast. I appreciate everybody coming on.
Yeah.
And this should be fun.
Right.
Yep.
Sir.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he about to. I thought you were about to take a shot before you.
Yeah, I am. Go ahead.
So then we about to get in. I want to hear her opinion about the Kanye situation.
Right off the
No.
bat.
In fact, hold on. I'm sorry. I got something better. I got something better.
Stretch.
When
just
did
got put
I want
right
everybody
in
go
front
of
right
her.
in. I know you gonna throw it right in the mix. No, when did everybody? I don't want to say fall in love with Kanye, but when did y'all was like, yo, Kanye the shit?
College.
Alright.
I went to college in Vermont. So I went to the University of Vermont. It was 96% white. It was 4% minority students. So we already kind of stuck together.
Right.
And Kanye came out with this album, and I was like, yo, who is this? Like, he was saying stuff that was really helping me deal with some things I was dealing with at the time, being so far away from home, being in a completely different environment. So that's when I fell in love with Kanye. We used to take trips to Montreal all the time in my friend Tien's Jeep. And she would be like, put on the Kanye album. And we listened to it all the time. So that's when I fell in love with Kanye.
Okay. All right. I fell in love with Kanye just through The Wire, just that first single, because that was the time when 50 Cent was crazy.
Yeah.
So for him to take over, because 50 Cent was like a powerhouse at that time, but I love samples as well. and that Through the Wire sample, which is Shaka Khan, right? Sick. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, Sick. But it was Shaka Khan, but that sample right there was like, no, like that joint was just crazy to me. But it was through the time when 50 was ruling shit, and he was able to be right there with him. So that's when I fell in love with Kanye.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was like, just like y'all were saying in the beginning, like when he first came out, because I have Kanye as like a Jesus relation with like BC and AD, you know what I mean? Like with Kanye. So when he first dropped Through the Wire, and then he was talking about, it was the joint, was it Flashing Lights? That's what got me.
Right.
Okay.
That's what got me. Because
So you was about 3 albums. That was what?
That was a little bit late. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I usually, I mean, that's what happens to me. I always have to backtrack with, you know what I mean? I'll find something dope and then I'll be like, oh shit, you're late as hell.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I mean, I didn't fall in love like right away, like anticipating it. Like I knew of Through the Wire. You know what I mean? That was a hot track. But then it took me until Flashing Lights to kind of be like, oh, damn. And then I backtracked and did kind of like, past love kind of thing.
Right. So what was, with Flashing Lights, was it the video or was it what he was saying?
It was what he was saying, and it was the beat too. Like, it was bringing it to life about, coming into kind of like showbiz, but like breaking it down for me to understand that it's still like real. Like he still had that, in my opinion, he still had that grip on reality.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what did it for me. I'm not like the biggest Kanye fan.
Right.
But
that's what made you listen to him.
That's what made me. Yeah, that's what put me on.
Yeah.
And for me, Kanye in my top 5. But I don't think I fell in love with him during College Dropout. I probably fell in love with him. I don't know if I ever fell in love with him.
Not fell in love, but when did you start fucking with Kanye? Listening to him.
I was just saying,
overall top 5 or like lyricist top 5?
No,
that's a huge.
In my top 5.
Okay.
He definitely
my top 5 too.
Okay.
In my top 5.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
But best rapper of all time is Big, I think.
Who you? Big. Well, we gonna have that argument. Yeah, we can do that another time. Let's not play for that.
But I think I've banged with him more once 808s and Heartbreaks came out and stuff. That's like probably Kanye's 3rd best album to me.
808s and Heartbreaks?
Yeah.
Okay.
First is College Dropout. Then I give it to what's the one in 09?
My Twisted Dark Fantasy?
Yeah.
Late Registration?
Late Registration.
I wasn't that crazy on Late Registration. I like the couple songs, but I like the Graduation better as a whole.
Okay.
And stuff. But
gotcha.
I don't have no like dream story of like, oh, when I fell in love with Kanye.
Yeah, not fell in love. And I'm just saying that because, but you get what I'm saying.
It's just like, I'm a fan. I don't just have no, it was just like, oh, this is some good ass music. I
thought that shit was just dope. That shit
it
was
is
crazy at the time.
But
to me.
Yeah, no, it is. But he ain't got no, like, this is my life.
Yeah, right.
Like
I think I could talk for me. I think for me, and I'm gonna let you go, Moose. I think it was more like because we was looking at college and shit like that at the time. Those just the moments like you certain shit. You like college dropout. We about to go to college. Yeah. It was just like we kind of resonated a little bit.
And I was in 9th grade.
So. Right, you was in 9th grade, so you
young
yeah. But Moose, what about you?
I like Kanye from his production. Actually, in the beginning, the work he did on the Blueprint, and then I heard him like finally rap on Blueprint 2. The name of the track is, but
Poppin' Tags.
No, it's not Poppin' Tags.
Well, what was the joint that like? It's one of the
magazines called me neighborhood that, and I'm like, oh, like he not only does beats, like he rap. I'm like, that's fire. Like I never like that was rare around that time. My favorite album, I ain't gonna lie, I think is Graduation.
Okay.
Graduation was fire. The production, the lyrics, like I think that's like one of the best albums. The artwork on the cover, like.
Oh, you like the artwork better than My Dark Twisted Fantasy?
That was like his most artistic shit to me.
My Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, that was like his most artistic shit.
That was real artistic.
Even if he ain't really fuck with the artwork, it was like his most artistic. The way he did the video for like 30-something minutes with the ballerinas, that whole shit was just another level to me. I thought he was pushing the envelope. Like,
But that's what Kanye does.
Yeah.
He pushed the envelope. But I really like Kanye as I love him as a rapper, but I really like his production. Like you could just know that's a Kanye beat when you hear it. Like the soul in the beat.
Right.
I'm like, man, Kanye did that. Like that's fire.
Right.
So, Kanye dope.
Right. Dope. Right. So what about so let's like Taylor Swift and shit like that. Like he do some shit like he go on stage with Taylor Swift and all this. So he say George Bush don't like black people. Was y'all fucking with Kanye then?
Yep.
You still fucking with Kanye?
I mean, I was mad he ran on stage and stole that moment from Taylor Swift. Even if he felt like Beyonce was being robbed at the moment, I didn't think that was the moment to just run up on stage. Like that's the one thing about Kanye that I've loved and hated is that like he just does what he wants when he wants. Like if he feels like I feel some type of way, he's gonna say it, and I respect that. But at the same time, you gotta respect other people's feelings too. And I think he, like in that moment with Taylor Swift, he thought his feelings meant more than her feelings, and I wasn't riding with him on that one. When he said George Bush don't like black people, I mean, look at the track record. What happened after Katrina? I mean, how many houses were actually built with all the money that was raised? That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
No, I
think you hit the nail on the head there as far as with everything. The first thing you were saying was like he'll put his foot in his mouth and like I still fuck with him like as far as everything is lyrics, production, everything. But when he ran up on stage, all I saw was like a 5-year-old that got upset that he didn't get picked for the team and he wanted to grab the mic and be like, "This is why you," and I'm like, like.
What's for Beyonce?
I could. Yeah, like when
because all I said was laugh.
Like when
you're crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I see passion. And not saying that it's the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
But that's his passion. So at the end of the day, you respect the passion of it. It's fucked up that happened.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, it's just, I don't know. I can understand the passion piece of it. So it never really
Kanye might be the
rubbed me
realest.
off the wrong
He
way.
might have been the realest since Tupac before he said them crazy comments.
So that's what
Because like you said, he sometimes free thinking could go wrong.
Right.
I don't know.
When you look at
That just
influence,
threw me for a loop.
but think about it. When you look at influence,
rappers all the time.
yeah,
I mean,
influence
I ride
all
hard
the
with
time.
Pac too. I don't know. Like, I got that little piece where, like, you talk about Pac, and I'm like,
Right, but we're not saying he.
No, I'm not saying no.
Since
Just
then,
anything.
who was the
Yeah.
most influential
Yeah, I mean, that's
rapper
that's
or
dope-
influential
yeah,
artist?
that's an
I can see
argument,
Tupac going on stage doing something like that. Yo,
Fuck yeah.
yo, y'all pick her. You see,
Yeah,
Tupac
Tupac wouldn't give a fuck about none of that.
Yeah.
He don't
That's
care
for
about
sure.
none of that.
Or he
Yeah.
might be coming that big in the rap. He just
Right,
so
yeah.
up and down.
Tupac, yeah, that's no doubt about that. Yeah, but as far as influential rappers since Pac, and I think one of the reasons why people are having this discussion or really feel some type of way is because of Kanye being so influential. I think if this was about another rapper,
Like if Bleak said this,
if Bleak
nobody
said this
cared.
shit, alright, no, don't disrespect Bleak. Don't do that.
But he doesn't have the same reach.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't got the
his
reach.
words don't go as far.
Because Bleak don't even rap no more.
Could we agree that?
Since I was in high school when he rapped. No, he was up. I'm telling you, like, listen.
Right.
Y'all ain't
When
right.
we say influential,
State property
we
was high.
saying,
Like,
Right.
when we say
Fuck with you, Bleak.
when we say influential, though, we say like music wise or like his off.
No, we talking about
antics and stuff.
Yeah, we're not
or,
even just
like,
talking about
as a
music
whole,
wise. We're
like,
talking about him as a person.
as a person. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who, Kanye?
Yeah. Because
think-
Pac was bigger than rap.
Pac
Pac was
so
an
much
influential
bigger than-
person.
yeah.
Period.
Right.
And I think Kanye. I don't think I know Kanye is that influential because of the things that he has done. He has took those chances, even if he looks like an asshole, to fight for certain things. So I put him up there as like one of the most, influential since a Pac.
man, Kanye changed. He had a big impact on the culture.
Mm-hmm.
If you think around that time when his music came out, it was a lot of backpacks and like just going back, like they wanted that vibe at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like like you said, he is one of the most influential rappers. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
times
We talking about a time where it was still baggy clothes and all this shit. And this nigga came in with what was tight then, which we don't consider tight now, and doing pink polos and a backpack and breaking that mold. Like breaking that shit. And the reason why I give him the respect because he broke it when there was a top dog. I'm not a top dog, but a motherfucker that had the wave on his back. And we talking about 50 Cent. 9 shots artist. That wave was crazy.
That was
so
crazy.
him to break through that at a time that wasn't even cool to do.
And the first rap to embrace the gay community.
And the first rap to embrace the gay community.
Outsold 50. Went up head to head against him and outsold him.
Right.
The first week I remember that.
Yeah.
That was. Yeah.
I remember that they had it on 106 in
Some
Park.
Park,
right.
They was talking about that. Yeah.
Right.
It was crazy. Like, you know, when South Park did the whole gay fish shit and all that stuff. That's one thing about Kanye. I would say for me personally, he has shown improve every time. No matter how. They say every genius is fucking crazy. Or damn near.
Yeah, that line between genius and
Yeah.
crazy is. You
But
see
if you
people
ask
like
Kanye,
Picasso, and you see
crazy.
people like Van Gogh cutting off his ear,
right,
but at the
he's
same
not.
time
Right.
can make something that lasts for,
He says no. I mean, he's not. I mean,
or you know.
I just think when he came out, he was one of the first rappers to start talking about himself and acknowledging his flaws and being like, all right, look, this is what I do. This is what we do. But all right, we just want to keep it moving with it. And I think that's why a lot of people like latched on to him because they saw themselves in Kanye. Like, you're right. I do go spend my whole damn paycheck because it makes me feel good to have this outfit on. I don't need it. It's not advancing me as a person, but shit, I look good as fuck. So, like, it was stuff like that made you be like, all right, Kanye, all right. And, you know, when he used to talk about working at the Gap and, you know, I've been working this slave ship and it's like, that's how I felt. Like, I was in the mall working 2 different retail jobs, you know? Like,
That's
all
all
of that kind of stuff. You saw yourself in Kanye because he was like, he was so relatable. And I think even the fact that he had that life, you know, like, he saw his life flash before his eyes. Like, he almost died. And he used to talk about that, you know, that accident and everything. So, I don't know. Like,
I can relate to that because at Radio Shack, you know, working 9 to 5. I'm a 9 to 5 motherfucker. Working 9 to 5 and all that shit. At Radio Shack, we used to have inventory. Like, I forgot how many months. And that's all we played was Kanye Slave Ship. Because we used to be in that bitch from the morning all the way to the next morning at Radio Shack for inventory. And that's all we played was I've been working this slave shit. Yo, the whole time through that whole shit. But that's some real shit. It was like at a time where, you know, hip hop was flaunting. Like, you need to have this, you should have this and this and that. Kanye was like, came like, boom, like, man, we broke doing this shit. In a sense, you get what I'm saying?
what he said,
Like, we won it. We know why we won it. We won it for the reasons that he said. We want to look good. We want to feel good. That's the real reason.
That's why I said Kanye was a vibe. Like, he a vibe. He got his own type of energy. And, I mean, I look at it like his energy was good for the culture. I mean, it's like, his music is still good, but sometimes, you know, like she said, his personal opinion can be off, and it can bring a lot of critics into, you know, demonize kind of what he got going on, take away from the positive stuff he did, and it just shines a light on the negativity.
Right.
Which is fair and unfair at the same time.
But I never think he got bad intent.
I don't think he. I think Kanye is one of them people that sometimes what he. All right, how can I say it? When he
can't articulate it.
Yes, he can't articulate
So?
it. It may in his head, it may come out and it may come out logical to him, but when he says it, like, it doesn't come out that way. Like, even if you look at the TMZ video, he telling the guy sorry towards the end, like, yo, I'm sorry if I hurt you. Like, I think that was I'm like, damn, like, I shouldn't have said that.
But that's the problem, though. You can't just say things and then want to apologize for it after the fact. Like, at some point, this man is getting older. Like he said in his interview with Charlamagne, I'm 40 years old. Like, you're 40 years old. Like, you can't just be out here just saying stuff off the top of your dome because that's what you're thinking and not taking into account the fact that people are listening and your words carry so much weight. And when you have the president, Donald Trump, being like, oh yeah, shout out to my man's Kanye, it's like, stop. Like, come on. Like,
So when y'all first thought about when y'all first seen the
Kanye or Trump?
Trump. I think
Trump
that was like
definitely trolling.
He
oh
was
yeah, he
trolling
trolled.
bad.
Yeah, he got his own. So when y'all first seen it, when y'all first seen the
You think
shit with
Kanye
Kanye,
trolling? I think Kanye just crazy. Yeah, he really feel like
I don't
that.
think
No, but it's not crazy like he don't know what he doing. It's
Yeah,
just
I don't-
Kanye-ish.
This is the part
I
I've
think
been
he
waiting to
trolls
get
just
into.
a little bit.
You think so?
a little bit. Because he can. He always has. And
But
that's what we liked him before. Before we called people trolls, Kanye like invented trolling in a sense when it comes to hip hop. He'd been doing that kind of stuff, throwing it out there
But
just
I
to
don't
get
think
you all
it's
riled
trolling.
up. But not that he was doing it in a bad way. It was just
I
it
think
was him
50
being
is
him.
more of a troll when he invented
Yeah,
it.
He's just an
I think
ass.
Kanye is just
Yeah.
more passionate.
he's just more passionate about
And
it.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell this now. Like I was talking to when that shit first came out with him wearing the Trump hat and all that stuff. I said, he gonna have to explain himself to me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, as a fan, because I don't understand what direction he's going. It's the total opposite of what Kanye is or what I know him to be. So I said, I don't know, and it just kept on. He kept on pushing it, and I'm like, man, I told him, I said, man, I might not listen to his next album.
Right. And I
Because
felt
this
like,
shit getting a little crazy to me.
Yep.
I need an interview or something need to come out. But
I felt totally different. I felt it was Kanye-ish.
Mhm.
You know, whatever he's doing, even though I disagreed this time.
Mhm.
It's like it's something I disagree with, but to me it's still Kanye-ish what he's doing.
Mhm.
I didn't think it was crazy. I knew he'd see something crazy in Trump that relates to him.
that relates to him,
And
right.
that's how conservatives is. All of them see something that relate to them and not see the whole picture.
Mhm.
So they see something that just relates to them, they be like, I'm gonna vote for him just because I think the Mexicans don't need to be around. All the other stuff crazy, I disagree
they
with
can
that.
have all this
but
other stuff. but
I
that's
agree with
the
this one
thing.
part, and that's how I could see Kanye thinking like that.
Right. And it took the Charlemagne interview for me to understand. I don't gotta agree with everything Kanye say, but for me personally, I understand from his point of view.
Right.
The Trump stuff is what I don't really agree with, the way he go about it.
Right.
But now I'm like, oh shit, I understand what the viewpoint of where you trying to go with it.
But that don't mean
I ain't
you
gotta
agree.
agree with it.
Yeah, but you.
Yeah, because there's people that like T.I. that sat down to this song and talked to this man, and that's his friend,
Yeah.
and don't agree. But
Like
don't.
that song?
Yeah,
I
you
that
like that song.
Yeah.
But doesn't what I say? Give you the middle finger, like fuck you, Kanye. Like that's the part that I don't like, and we gonna get into that. But when y'all seen the whole shit, when y'all seen the Charlemagne interview, what did y'all take from it?
Well, see, what I was going to say, like, just kind of backtrack, was that when you go on the air and when you make a statement as powerful as slavery was a choice, right? Now, if you say that as anybody else, like, say, not even just, because you see where I'm going with this, as a white person, but not even that, but as somebody who's not in the public figure, you can be like, no, that's not cool, even with an apology. You know what I mean? Like, and just to get it out there, like, I mean, we're on the show, like, if somebody says that, white, Mexican, somebody Chinese, they say that, there's not really an apology after that. That could make it better. But hold on, what I'm trying to say is that he could have, like that's Kanye being Kanye. He could mean it in another way.
Right.
But I think that he should have been held, in a sense, in my opinion, to that same standard. Where even if, as an African American man in the spotlight, making a statement on such a wound of an issue like that to just say, it's Kanye being Kanye and brush it over, that's not good enough.
Right.
And I'm not even black, and I'm like, that's not good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole lot of just, whoa, you just said something that we're just not going to skip over and say, oh, that's Kanye being Kanye, or he meant this, or he meant that.
But
hold on, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Do it sound different though when he say 400 years for 400 years? Do it make the context different as he's talking about
I
thinking?
don't care if it was 1,000 years. Like,
Yeah.
the reality is, first of all, in saying slavery is a choice, you're ignoring the fact that there are a lot of slaves that made the choice to say, fuck this, kill me. And they were
Yeah,
killed.
for sure.
There's people that jumped from the boats because they were like, I'm not
sure.
even going there.
Right.
There were the slave rebellions that happened, and whole plantations worth of slaves were slaughtered because they made the choice to say, look, I don't want to do this anymore. So to just have this blanket statement like slavery is a choice, 400 here. Sound like a choice to me. If we wouldn't have got upset about that, he would have never went on Twitter to say, let me explain myself. He would have left it as is and expected us to just take that, digest it, and just, accept that his word is bond.
So I think
he definitely wouldn't explain it.
So I think
he would assume we knew.
To Mike Jesus' point, when he was apologizing, I don't think he was apologizing to what he said. He's just apologizing to, I didn't want to offend you. He's sticking to what he's saying though. Okay. If you look at that, I'm not here to offend you. Yeah. I'm not trying to offend you. When it comes to the point of the slavery and the foreign, we know Kanye can't articulate right. We know this, and
he chooses not to.
Not in the moment of passion.
Not in the moment of passion. You can jump on stage with Taylor Swift. That's like, what the hell?
That's like you arguing.
Because he chooses not to contain himself. When y'all watch that Charlemagne interview, did he not stay calm, cool, and collected the whole time? That means that brother has it within him to speak about things that deeply impact his life and still stay grounded. But when he gets himself riled up, he just thinks, I'm going with it.
I think
that was two different interviews. Yeah. That interview, he wasn't riled up. He more specifically talking about himself and what's going on in him. He was thinking about free speech with TMZ, so the mentality was different. I think. So he's going there more riled. Right. So he's not thinking clearly.
And I want to get more into that. So when y'all seen the Charlemagne interview, what did you think at that point from seeing what he was posting on Twitter to now what he said on the Charlemagne interview? Because I hit up and I said, damn, that interview was good as shit. I understand it. I get it like a little bit. And we're going to get into this crazy part because I'm tired of people trying to throw him off as like, yo, go off the deep end when I'm seeing a different behavior versus what Kanye was. Right. But when y'all seen that interview, like, what did you think, Kanye?
I took my claws out a little bit.
Okay, all right.
I thought what I always thought.
He stood his ground regardless. That's why I was the one on y'all. I was like, yo, this motherfucker.
Because he was.
That's how I was on the Twitter joints.
I think Kanye teetered the line of genius and crazy. Like seriously. Like, because if you look at the interview, it was some points in there you were like, okay, I can understand that. I can understand why you had a meltdown. Once
breakthrough.
Well,
I like that word of breakthrough with him. I'm just saying for me, I love breakthrough.
Well, then he gave you the events that led up to that. So you're like, all right, well, he ain't just go crazy. It was stuff on his mind like that could have made you go off the edge or me. Right. So I'm like, okay, cool. Then he went further in the interview, and then I'm like, oh man, like he going another direction a little bit now. Like,
what direction?
What point?
What point?
When he started talking about slavery and things like that.
Well, that was the TMZ shit.
That was a TMZ, right? Yeah. So, for the most part, Kanye, like I said, is teetering that line. Like, he genius and crazy. Like, but I mean, everybody different. I feel like everybody entitled to your own opinion. As long as it don't affect people that way, like, you can't be ignorant to other people's feelings. Like, I can't just say something just because I feel like it and expect you know what I mean? Expect it to go well with you. If I came in this, you be like, yo, man. Like,
right, for sure.
What's going on? But his intent is good, so you might not know you're offending somebody when you say something.
Right.
Because that brings me up.
I think more he does too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example why I feel like he's more logical with it because
I watched the interview again today and I was watching it and I was like, like, all right. Like, I wanted to give him a hug at certain points. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, when he talks about, I was in the hospital and this and that. Like, I have a father that has real mental health issues that has been diagnosed with things that's on medication. So I'm watching it and I'm like, I get it, brother. I get it. I see you, but at the same time, when certain things he was saying, I'm like, but you're still not taking responsibility for your actions. You're putting this off on everybody else. Like, in one breath, you're talking about how, as a black man in the fashion world, I can't be 45 minutes late because then they put me back in my place like, look, nigga, you can't do such and such. But then the next breath, you're like, I don't want to talk about slavery no more. I don't want to talk about this. And it's like, Well, choose your battles. Like at one point you're talking about how being black has held you down and held you back. Then at the other side you're like, but we can't talk about this anymore. So is it only you get to talk about it, but then the rest of Black America has to ignore it? Like, what is it, Kanye?
That's a good point, though.
That's all.
You ain't got that answer, Sway.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I was waiting for Sway to come out and be like, you ain't got the answers, Kanye. I was hoping you was going to come out with something now.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
See, and what you were bringing up too, and to piggyback off of that was that picking and choosing your moments. All right, so, and this is what I hit you up on the gram was about. I think somebody, and he's got the track record of losing his finger off the pulse. You know what I'm saying? In my own opinion, he's got a track record of, yo, you're off reality for a little bit. Come back. So, I think when he says something like that about slavery, when he says something about choice, and when he says similar things like that, you know, quote, ruffle the feathers of America, I think he's just so far removed in that moment from reality because, and here's the thing that's been coming up recently, a lot of white America's been using it, the rich and wealthy, affluenza. Oh, I didn't know any better. You know what I mean? You'll see this rich 16-year-old white kid crash a Benz and take out a 5-year-old while he's smoking weed, and the lawyer tries to get him off because he didn't know any better. He had no structure.
Like that kid from Stanford.
And you're like, what the hell? That's not an excuse. So I flipped the script and I'm thinking of Kanye in that same context where I think he's got a little affluenza where he's like so far removed sometimes from, especially, and to just bring us full circle from when we were talking about his original albums and talking about like rising up and stuff like that and working retail type jobs. He's lost touch so much with that person that's why he spouts off. And I you know, that's why it's hard for me to give him a pass with that because, you know what I mean? It can't be. If it doesn't work for somebody who gets in an accident and in a court of law, oh, you didn't know any better, then it don't work, in my opinion, for that either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think sometimes you're so far removed from reality.
But it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard when it comes to opinion and actions, though.
Yeah.
Like, your actions, you can't really do nothing about that on, like, he wasn't thinking. Cause, like, if I run you over, it ain't nothing I could really say.
Yeah.
Like, but your actions, him saying something that might have a little logic side, but you disagree, you only can really go off his intent. You know, they don't put you in front of a jury or something.
Yeah.
You know,
well, break that down for me. Like, if we're talking about, like, there was logic behind his statements and stuff like that, in your opinions, like... I'm just saying, like, if we split it off, like, what would you say, like, all right, so you were saying, like, all right, I get what he was trying to say.
Right.
Like, what would you say to that?
I think
put you on the spot.
I think with Kanye, people were thinking more with emotion versus logical of what he was trying to say. One thing I'm going to sit here and say is how they break this shit down. When you first seen the Kanye shit about 400 slaves, the first thing was TMZ putting this big print out.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you.
Yep.
400. Kanye said 400 years of slavery was a choice. So when you go and looking at this video, you're going to pinpoint.
That's what you're waiting for.
That's what you're waiting for.
You're already charged up.
You already blurring out everything else before he said that. And then the crazy thing is TMZ didn't even let out the second piece after that until the next day.
Yep.
So you go into it pinpointing that and you like, oh, he said 400 years of slavery. Oh shit, fuck that. That nigga crazy.
Yep.
But you ain't really pinpoint what he was trying to say and then what he said afterwards because he said the mentality.
Right, because that's what I was about to say. It ain't even about that. What you said to answer your question is, it's like he talking about the mentality. It's like in the hood. The mentality is
like you just accept it.
Yeah, so you think this what it is. You think selling drugs.
I'm trying to learn too.
Yeah, you think selling drugs and guns is the only way out, or like that type mentality that they make you think that's the only way.
Okay,
you know,
it's been instilled.
Yeah, so that's what he's saying. So and that's what he's trying to say. Like as a whole, we know people. I know people with slaves rebel. We know all that jumped off the shit. But as a whole entirety, the mentality is that's the good to me.
Yeah,
you know, as a whole, like you said,
it's just the mentality to break it down.
Yeah, they were saying
it's like they break our mentality down.
But what is he doing to
help people
shift their mentality other than saying free thought? be free thinkers. That's why I commented
That's
what
to be
I
seen.
said.
That's to be seen.
You know, like, give us some more.
That's to be seen. But Moose, you don't agree with that?
Yeah, my bad. He was just over here.
Moose was like, he's on the back of her neck, like, I don't agree with that shit.
Oh man, because it's that stuff really happened 400 years ago, man. Like on some real stuff, you gotta think about it. If somebody comes snatch me and you right now, and they say, "Listen, we gonna kill your kids and your family, or you gonna do this," what you gonna do?
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's real shit.
No, I'm just asking.
I read something up like they say majority of the slaves wasn't snatched. Like white people weren't going to Africa to snatch. And
so it was more psychological.
Yeah.
So we know we were sold.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna say, listen, I don't want my family to die. There's no Twitter, there's no Instagram, you have no way to contact them. So it's not a choice. Like that's not a choice.
But this is what I asked you, not to stop you. Don't think emotionally, think logically. Right. When there was slaves coming, and it's not this is our ancestors, bro. Like at the end of the day, we know we read, we understand what the fuck they went through.
Amistad.
Yeah, like Amistad. We know what the fuck they went through. But logically, choice. Coming over here, some slaves did what? They jumped. We're not saying say you gotta jump, but that was a choice. It's just a logically way of thinking of it. And
I don't like to use that word for that, though.
I know, but it is what it is, though.
At the end of the day, I still feel like he's putting all the onus on black folks. Like, he's still putting it on us to be like, look, the only way we're going to get out of this is if you do X, Y, Z. And it's like, okay, I agree. Like, I think, no, not you. Someone else I was talking to about it, they were like, you know, it always comes up the whole black on black crime. Well, when we going to riot over this stuff? It's not right. Every single time somebody kills somebody over some senseless stuff, it's wrong. I just lost somebody like 2 weeks ago. Took a shotgun bullet to the chest. Gone. Like, it's real. But all I'm saying is, like, it seems like Kanye, when he wants to put white America on blast for what they do to him as a black man. But then he's telling everybody else black, like, well, it's on you to figure this out. You gotta love. You gotta pull yourself out of it. But is that not what black folks have been trying to do? Have we not been trying to pull ourselves out of this? And every step of the way, we are still met with opposition, which is why I made the comment where I said that if he wants us to break out of this mental, mentality, this mental slavery, that he needs to also work to break down the systems that are keeping us enslaved. Point blank, period. So you can't just put it on these black folks and say change your thinking.
So this is where I say Kanye is doing that. His passion is fashion and shit like that. So I can't knock this man if that's his passion to break this shit down for us. Because he stated on the Charlemagne thing is like, Yeezy is not to be here for $300, $400. We want this to turn into, man, if something happens in the world, we're going to throw Yeezys at him for free. That's his passion. You get what I'm saying? To break down this piece of it. You know what I'm saying? I can't
that's
expect.
What you question.
Yeah, and that's what you question? That's his passion, though.
I would question.
I mean,
too.
okay,
great.
why
would you question?
You love fashion. That's wonderful. But you building this $1 billion brand, that how he kept reminding us, it's a $1 billion brand. It's a $1 billion brand.
And people said he couldn't do it.
But that's why
wonderful. I'm so glad you did it. But how is that helping all these other folks? Not when we see it on the news. Another little young man just took his sister to the prom, got hemmed up by the cops at the Waffle House. Black woman falls asleep in a college dorm, which all of us have done, and she got to get interrogated by 4 police officers to, verify why she's there and her existence on that campus. Like, how is you building this fashion brand really truly helping what's going on everywhere else in America? That's what I'm waiting to see. And when he can show me the true connection between this is what Yeezy is doing to break down all this other stuff, then I'm gonna sit back and clap, and I will be the first one to say, damn, Kanye, I'm sorry, I doubted you. But until then, you are building something for yourself. Like, he even came at Obama, like, what did Obama do for Chicago? Kanye,
but that's a personal thing.
But But
Can't
he's
praise
not
Trump at the
acknowledging
same
the
time.
fact that Obama had a pet project that he worked on in Chicago, and when Trump got in office, he shut it down. You're not acknowledging that, though. But the first thing you want to do is question, what did Obama do? Because you still mad he called you a jackass. In my opinion, you were a jackass when you jumped on stage, and you're still waiting for him to come apologize to you. Like, get over it already. The same way you're telling us to get over slavery, get over the fact that Obama has not apologized to you. Maybe he don't want to. That's how he feels. This is how you feel. That's how he feels. Point blank, period.
And that's another ignorant statement when he said, "What has Obama done for South Side of Chicago?" You ever see the movie South Side with You? South Side by You, South Side with You with Obama, and it shows all the community activist stuff he's done. You can't be ignorant when you're talking, like especially when you're talking about history and you're talking about things that's going to affect people. It's just not going to fly. Like, my question is, do y'all think Kanye could come back from this?
I don't think he's gone.
You think so?
I don't think he's gone. He's not. He's far away removed. That's what I don't think. For me personally, I don't think he's that. And Jamila, you make some good points.
Like, I think he could come back from this, but I don't think it's a comeback.
Yeah, I don't.
But he's
not here. We have to admit that he is not fully here. Even in the Charlemagne interview, though,
I think that she was a fan, though.
And he acknowledges
no,
rich nigga shit. He acknowledges that even himself, like some of the ways that he thinks about things, is rich nigga shit. Charlemagne called him out on that kind of stuff. So even he knows that some of the things that he says and does is because he's over here.
I think more of, this is what I'm saying, I think more of Kanye at this point right now. And I'm looking at Kanye now. So I'm looking at the Kanye before and the Kanye now. I think one thing Kanye has always proved to me personally is he gets it done. He has a mission or something, like he has broken a lot of barriers. I feel like, at least in the music industry, fashion industry, whatever the case, he gets things done. He always has thought outside of the box. When motherfuckers sit here and called you gay fish and all this shit,
right?
Y'all not with the program.
I can agree.
Y'all,
with
you know what I'm saying? Y'all not with the program. I'm gonna show y'all. So I'm gonna give Kanye the benefit of the doubt with this.
All right, so
and the reason I'll say this is because look at the behaviors of before Kanye, the houseway versus now is different. I think he is thinking a little bit more now. To be honest with you, before I thought he wasn't thinking. I was like, yo, he just is really emotional. But now it's like, okay, let me take a step back. I get it. He needs to be more responsible with the way he present things and doing his homework.
Yeah.
Yes, he needs to be more responsible with that.
And I think that's the biggest point.
Is he not onto something?
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like he's onto something. I feel like our mentality need to break from certain shit. Yeah. And that's a motherfucker that's already up there to let you know, like, listen, we gotta break some shit. That's just how I feel.
But he's not the only one that's been pushing for this.
To backtrack a little bit with that was say, all right, so when you said we was talking about the clothing brand and what he could do for, you know, what I like to call the movement, you know what I'm saying? And I include everybody in that, you know, the uprising of everybody. Because a lot of it nowadays, and I'm not going to try and exclude anything, I think it's a class structure or anything more than anything, too, that's creeping up here. See, with Kanye, like with clothes, fashion, stuff like that, that's not going to be the answer. What you need to do is you need to get into the politics of it all. And maybe that's what he's doing with the Trump thing. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is you need to get into the politics of it all. You need to start getting into reverse laws and things like with redlining. Things like that with home loan mortgages and stuff like that, and why they give subprime loans to redlining mortgages areas, and why the hood is always going to be the hood and is always going to be the same until gentrification comes along. You need to get involved with those kind of movements that separate and say, well, we're not going to give any kind of business loans. We're going to keep a gun shop and a liquor store on every corner in the hood because we're not going to give any loans for anybody to start up. That's not another, say, African American or Asian American person that's just handing it down and handing it down to themselves and to their own people. What you need to do is you need to get involved in the community affairs like that and change legislation and things like that. Those are the things that are going to make the difference for the youth and to go forward. And why, say, a public school, why a public school in this area gets so much funding, but a public school in this area, in another area doesn't get anything. Why did my school not have a football team and this, that, ever? But at another public school in the same area is sending their kids to Colorado to go, skiing.
So I asked this question.
You know what I'm saying?
I asked this question. Maybe I'm a little off. What's the first piece of that to do that? Your mentality?
But I think, yeah.
Is your mentality not the
That's
first
what
piece
I'm
of
about to
this
ask,
to do that?
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but
That's facts.
yeah, I understand what he's saying, but Pose's lane is to fight just for mentality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like somebody lane just fight for cancer.
Yeah.
But that's like saying just
Go to
go
AIDS
to church
and,
and pray about it. Go to church
Yeah.
and pray about it.
Yeah.
We've been praying for hundreds of years, and what is that? What is that getting us? And I'm a Christian. I go to church. You know, I say my prayers every day. But just saying like you got to change your mentality. Okay, great. But then what comes after that? I want to see Kanye, like he's saying, sit down with these community leaders. And if you are a community leader and you're so like turned off by Kanye, don't be. Let him come sit down and talk to you. Let him be involved. You know, I was quick to cancel him.
So why do we feel some type of way when he sat down with Trump then? What made us sit here? What made us sit here and say like, oh shit?
But what
he
came
down
of
with
it?
Trump? What the fuck is he doing?
Because what came of it?
because
He
no
can't even talk
I
about
think it was because
History, too, has a lot
he
to
bashed.
But are we going to sit here and play this game now?
And
I get it because
I think because he bashed Obama and then kind of like he praised Trump.
that was some personal shit.
Yeah,
I get
so
it.
that.
Mm-hmm.
No, but even
That kind of
I get that,
but
but at the end of the day, in the Charlamagne interview, he clearly stated, "I want to sit down with him to talk about Chicago. I want to sit down and talk about the shit that's going on in Chicago."
And Obama will.
So why do we bash him when he sits down and talk to the top political
and he said he
motherfucker?
never got an answer back.
And he never got answer back. Right. But do we sit here and all I'm saying is, do we sit here when he sat down with Trump? It was like, what the fuck is you doing?
Listen. All right, let me ask you a question.
He said that on
He
Fair
couldn't
Game.
even
He
answer
said
the
that with
question
Trump and
directly to
Listen.
say why Trump is any different than George Bush. He was asked a question outright, straight up question. You said George Bush doesn't like black people. So then Charlamagne asked him, so what makes Donald Trump any different?
I think he
And
cleared that up though already. I think he cleared it up on the TMZ.
around.
No.
Around.
No, what I mean is that
I
in the
just disagree
TMZ episode, he cleared up. He's a different person now than what he was. And what I mean by that is he talked about the George Bush situation. And he said, me looking at George Bush now and him losing his father, if I sat down with that man, I would apologize to him. Because, damn, you got a family, you got this and that. And I sit here and I say George Bush don't like black people. He said this on TMZ.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So his mind state is different from then
But
to
he
now.
still can't
But I don't think
say
that
why
could-
he likes
not
Donald
really.
Trump and
Huh?
he's in
Yeah.
support of him.
But no, he said why he like Donald Trump.
He
'cause
said
he's-
that, though.
But
Yeah.
you could. I disagree with.
what's
He'll
his
take
I don't-
that
as some
his head off.
infiltrating politics
Infiltrating the
and not
system.
being a politician.
Mm-hmm.
And he felt that's what he had to do.
between Trump and
He's
as
like
an outsider.
innovators. Like
He likes the
But he
innovation
said
part.
that's how he was. coming
Yeah,
to
yeah,
hip-hop.
No, I feel what you're
But he
saying. I
said
don't
he
think
had-
Trump is
he
any
said he
different
had
than a
Donald
politician.
Trump.
A politician is just
They all are. I was raised in politics.
a politician is just a Trump in essence.
Really, you
a
just
businessman.
got a politician in there that's just sitting here saying, "Fuck it, I'm not going to sit here and hold nothing back.
Yo, him-
I'm not
he
going
said
to cover
that.
He
coke
said he
shit.
would have what's his name?
I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Principles.
That's all
but
that
act
is.
like Trump.
That boy is ruthless.
He definitely said that. Yeah.
Okay.
But,
All right.
Bernie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
how I feel like we just
Go
got
Bernie.
But he said he
somebody in there.
had. He said he had Bernie Sanders principles.
Yeah, he got Bernie Sanders. Yeah.
He's an independent.
Right.
I think there's
Yeah.
a different way of going about it too. Like,
Now,
if he
don't
wants
get
to
me
sit-
wrong.
If he wants to sit down with Trump and get X, Y, and Z figured out, that's one thing. But to go on there with the Make America
No, I
Great
disagree
Again,
with
I
Trump.
disagree
and all
with
this,
that. I
like,
disagree with Trump.
Yeah,
I
that wasn't
disagree with
cool.
that. Yeah.
the
The thing I don't agree with is the way
Because,
he's
like-
going about it, but I understand it from a Kanye, and this is why made me, he helped me understand it. From a Kanye to put in his perspective of what he understands about Trump. It's not the values of Trump. It's just the way he just came in and pimped the fucking system.
And he felt related
And
to
he
that.
felt related to that
That's how I
shit.
said.
He
That's
like,
how some
all right.
conservatives be.
Yeah.
They
Even
felt-
though the
they
whole
felt
time he
related.
has
Yeah.
a history
He just
of
had a good
bashing
team.
his-
Maybe he don't need to promote Trump,
strategic.
though.
Yeah.
He don't need to promote him as much.
Right.
And down
I
the black
disagree
man.
with you.
All right,
I disagree with that.
We'll meet in the
Just
middle.
saying.
with
I
that,
disagree with that,
Just
for sure.
saying.
with Trump's history of just racist
Right.
ways to just, and I'm not saying you can't sit down with the man and that you disagree with, and you know what I mean, there's been people that sat down with Klan members in
Right.
order to meet in the middle somewhere. But like I said, with Trump's history of with his buildings and his tenements and stuff like that in New York, not renting to black people, and him going to court.
So
and
I got a
stuff
question
like
for you.
that.
Did you feel shocked
Shock what?
Like when Trump was all this shit came out, like how Trump is, did it like turn you a little
like
bit?
when he got elected, or like when
No,
you said
after he got
just
elected. Yeah. I'm just saying everything that pertained to the racist stuff. Did you feel a little bit like,
Every
oh
day-
shit, like damn, this really is?
Every
Did you
day,
feel like that?
every day, I still wake up and think it's a dream that he got
Uh-huh.
elected. Every day, I wake
Right.
up and think it's a nightmare.
And do you
That-
do like this shit like oh shit, this motherfucker really doing this boldly type shit?
Yeah. I mean, I can see you there, like with
Uh-huh.
like him being so bold.
So bold, right.
I'll I could see that. Like,
So
with
I
him
just
being
give you this
that
point.
bold.
It's not a thing.
Okay.
For me as a black person, it's no fucking surprise. There's
something
nothing
like that.
that's like, oh shit, Trump did some shit. I'm just like, look at these motherfuckers, let
Okay,
him
I
do
see
this.
what-
Yeah,
I
let
get
him
what
look
you're
at these
saying.
motherfuckers,
all
let him
through
do
the
this shit.
all through his
Yeah.
campaign, it was
Right.
like that though. Like
This nigga really
I
bald
don't
with
care
it.
what he said.
He's making
All
fun of
our
handicap
politicians have
people,
been like that.
Talking about women.
We know what time it is.
Yeah.
Malcolm X said it, and I don't want to quote Malcolm X wrong, but he had an interview and he said the most dangerous motherfucker is the one that will shake hands with you. Not the Republican, but the motherfucker that'll sit here and shake hands with you and say, listen, let's try to get this done. Because you don't know what type time he on.
His ulterior motives.
Yeah, you don't know his ulterior moves. But that motherfucker that already showed you that shit, you already know what time it is. I ain't gotta fuck with him.
I mean, from that perspective, you know what you're getting. You know what
Yeah.
you're dealing
But
with.
Trump
Right.
come from the perspective where you knew what type of time he was.
That's what I'm saying. You knew what type
Yeah.
time it was. That's why I asked
Just
him,
somehow-
did it surprise you? Because
Yeah.
it ain't surprised me as a black person. We see and say, oh, this shit about to go down. They got
It surprised me how. No, it surprised me.
hit the fan.
Yeah.
No,
Alright, here we go.
a little bit of it surprised me how loose he is though. Like, yo, he don't care. He gonna talk to little Kim or Kim Jong Un, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he got
He
it.
got Kim Jones standing down. He got Kim Jones saying, I'm gonna quit my nuclear shit. Because
I'm
this
like,
nigga
whoa,
fucking
wait a
crazy.
second. About to blow Hawaii up. Like, what you doing, man?
Yeah.
But I want to get back to something
Go
she said something about Kanye speaking on we should not worry about slavery and they not let me in because I'm black. But his bottom line is always we are a people. That ain't consistent.
Sometimes I wouldn't say that he consistently has that theme when it's convenient. He puts that
Even
out
when
there.
he was-
More so now than ever. He's now talking about this love, but we
Yeah,
gotta
it's break-
do it
no.
love.
But even in the Yeezus, even in the
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Yes,
but
Kanye.
even in the Yeezus rant,
One time.
when he was ranting about the Yeezus stuff and all that, he always was screaming more, we one race. So I could see the consistency in like, we need to stop worrying about this. Not saying he's right, but I'm just saying it seemed consistent.
I mean, I'm there with him. Like, I had my periods of time where I was like, I don't want to see another slave movie. I don't want to see
That's
it.
why I never seen
wanna
Get Out.
I want to.
I love Get Out, though.
That you need to
That's
see
that
it.
shit.
Because that ain't about no slavery.
Yeah, that's
No,
like
it ain't
some
about
real stuff.
slavery,
That's
but
like
I
real
just see
stuff.
it just
That,
from what it is. I know what it
don't
is.
tell nobody else you ain't
I
seen
think
Get
you
Out.
need to
You
see it
go
and
watch
you
it.
get a different twist on it. Yeah.
I know
You
that
should just-
because I heard so much about
So you
everything.
already know what
I heard so much about it.
The
I
whole
watched
vibe
the
around the
interviews.
sunken place and all that.
Yeah, I
It's
just
crazy.
seen everything
I
and
don't
never
know.
seen the movie,
Right.
but I understand what it is. And it's
Gotcha,
like,
See, it's good though.
But,
But
yeah,
I get
it's
what
not
you're
your it's not your
I get
typical
what you're
slave
saying, though.
movie. But I'm just
no,
saying,
I'm not saying the slave movie. I'm just saying
But I get it. Like, I get it.
Taking power from
I
black
quite
men.
often don't have the same opinion as people around me when I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to keep hearing about how the white man is holding me down. Like,
Right.
we already know that there's these systems that are continuing to oppress black folks and other people of color. We're going to have to continue to work to beat down these systems, but we can't do that sitting in the corner crying about what's not happening and who's not doing what for us. We still got to keep going. And even if that means, like Cardi said, get knocked down 9 times, get up 10, then all right. Every time you get down, just have your brother or your sister around to dust your shoulders off and get up and let's keep moving. So in that regard, I totally understand. No, we can't keep sitting around blaming everybody. But what I'm not going to do is look at you and say, dear Mr. Black Man, you are where you are because of yourself. I'm not going to do that. I won't do that, and I won't accept anybody who just says that.
So I would say me personally, and I understand what you're saying. I would say me personally when I got from the TMC Kanye
Yeah, I
thing
didn't
is,
get that.
I didn't get that. I got more of he wanted to go into this let's break that slavery mentality. I think that was his whole just about it. Just the mentality of being in a that slavery type of zone, and that goes for today. Now he articulated it wrong.
It's like the mentality he couldn't be president.
Only because he didn't research.
Now, Obama breaks that mentality. It's like, oh shit, we could be
only
president.
Because
before Obama, we all had the mentality. No, we could be anything but president.
Only because he didn't research.
You
know,
that was it.
Yeah, he doesn't research.
But there was like
he
other
doesn't
parts.
know. I give you. He doesn't know certain things that's going on with the times, and you know some of the rappers or just celebrities fought him for that. Like he doesn't know, and he should keep up with it. But one thing I do understand is that this man just went through some shit. So I can't knock him for going through some shit and maybe not being in tune with what the fuck is going on right now because he got to get his shit back. So,
but if you are still working to get yourself back, then maybe that's when you just say, let me wait until I know I'm where I'm supposed to be before I go put myself out there in front of everybody and make it seem like I know what the hell I'm talking about. That's the only reason why I said Kanye is dangerous. Not that I was so against Kanye and him speaking his mind. I have always been a little different in the black community. I've always been somebody that's just slightly, when I stepped in Lincoln the very first day, everybody like, who's this little black girl? Because I spoke differently. I wore different clothes. Like, I grew up in the suburbs. I was always from that one of the few families that lived here. One of the only black girls in this school. One of. So I was always just slightly different. I always looked at things from a different perspective. If you look at my family, I come from a multiracial family. I identify as black. My parents are black. Well, at least my mom, and she fully identifies that way. But she's really not. But with all that being said, like, the whole point is, though, like, come on, like, if you're not sure that you are totally where you need to be, then should you really be getting on the soapbox out there telling everybody this is what needs to happen? He has every right to speak his mind. And yes, I was one of those people that I was getting ready to be like, canceled. I'm done with Kanye. But then I was like, you know what, Jamila, you can't be like that. You gotta let the man speak. You gotta let him say what he needs to say. But at the same time, just because there's something called free speech doesn't mean you are free from the consequences of your speech.
Right. That's definitely true.
That's great.
I think a lot of people gonna write Kanye off, man. I keep telling, like, I'm not. But I think a lot of people gonna be, because that same day I think he lost 10 million.
That was false.
That was false?
Yeah, that's false. I don't think they're gonna write him off. They didn't write R. Kelly off. They didn't write no Kanye off.
In today's news, Spotify is no longer playing.
Oh yeah, now they are.
Spotify said no.
But took Bill Cosby going to jail to write fucking R. Kelly off.
Well, you know, in the black community, it's a little different anyway. We know about things that happen, and we turn a blind eye to stuff because it's the same thing with OJ. How many of us really thought OJ did it? But when he got off, we were like, yay! Just because it was like, all right, the black man. I'm just saying, like, we do. In the black community, we have some.
But that was emotionally off of Rodney King.
I think.
Right. We need to get off with.
I was like,
one.
That was all about keeping score on that.
How many times do we stand on the corner talking about free so-and-so when we know damn well they did what they did? And if this was anybody else that did it, we would be like, lock their ass up. But that's how we are. We have these problematic relationships.
What I wanted to speak on that was that, and if I can, I mean, check me if I'm wrong, but when we talk about, like, not just the African American community, but, you know, I mean, you always see white people, Asian people, Latino people that are in those crowds of, when you touched on it, that sparked me off when you say free this person, free that person, this is wrong. Where are those same people that are out there marching to go vote, to go change this policy, to go say this is wrong? Why aren't we using that same energy? Free meat, free this, free that. That's guilty or not. Why isn't that same energy used for? You know what I mean?
You are 100% right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you
can check me if I'm wrong.
No. You are 100% right. But you're 100% right. But that's when it stems down to the mentality.
That's what I was thinking in my head, but I didn't want to speak out of turn with it.
We don't think like that. We don't know that. We're not educated that way. You go into these suburbs, they voting for every motherfucker in the community.
They're out there.
Going to this, and this. Yep. We don't vote until till the president's getting elected, and then we out there lines around the fucking corner.
And then even we don't do it sometimes.
a lot
other
of people
cultures,
ignorant to the
Caucasians,
process.
whites, they out there lines around the corner for the community.
When next week
We
is
don't think like that.
really
It's
an important
another
election.
Yeah, we don't think
Tuesday is an important election.
and we don't probably know it neither.
And that's the whole
In a
thing too.
sense.
Everybody
Yeah,
knows about
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
Tuesday in
I mean,
November for voting for president. But voting for president, like, keep it real, y'all. Like, president, what's the president really going to do for me and
He's
you
a
right
puppet.
now?
Right.
It's nothing. It's a puppet position.
It's a
What
puppet
we
position.
really need to be educated about and go out on Tuesdays and vote are the state representatives,
Yeah.
are your local chapter, your
Judges.
councilmen,
Right.
your judges,
Right.
who represents your county, who
Yeah.
does that. Those are the lines that need to be out the fucking
And I'll say
corner
this
all
now,
that
and
stuff.
you 100%
You know what I
right
mean?
because I say this now because I said on the last episode that DA guy that's in there, and he's showing improvement right now. I'm not sitting here giving him the utmost.
Somebody class that, right?
Yeah, I'm not giving him that. But from what I know in my history of what he did when he got in that office to shake shit up
Yeah.
Right.
is working.
Yeah.
And that's a prime example of that.
Yeah.
Because that DA guy's in there really shaking shit up. He fired a lot of motherfuckers
Yeah.
that they went with his program.
Yeah.
And he
Like,
put a lot of motherfuckers
yeah.
on the spot.
And just to give an example, he put a lot of motherfuckers on the spot. To give an example, the motherfuckers,
The dirty cops.
he want motherfuckers to sit here and basically, you gotta give me a reason why we gonna lock this person up for this amount of weed. Is why we should spend these tax dollars on this.
Yeah.
If you can't give me that, then he shouldn't be locked up for that amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's still a work in progress, but he came out the fucking gates running.
I'll give him a notch.
So I give him a notch. I give him
Yeah.
one notch right now
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's trying to shake shit up.
I mean, a lot of people
That's-
just got
that's
out of
just the
jail.
example.
That's a good.
Yeah.
Due to that situation with me, I mean, it wasn't just Meek that got out of jail.
Right.
Because it was a corrupt cop.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So just about the notch, just to give the notch to the DA guy that's in office right now, and this is what you were saying, you 100% right. Because the DA guy right now is basically trying to shake shit up. Like, if a motherfucker guy come to him and state their case of, okay, why are we putting this motherfucker in jail for this amount of time for a weed case? Why are we spending our tax dollars on this? And it gotta make sense to him for us to do that. And there's a certain shit that he's just doing that
It's
I
not
give him
always-
one little notch
Yeah.
to like, okay.
We're not just going to throw him there because
Yeah, we just not going to say and just throw everybody in jail right now.
Yeah.
And this is the beginning. But reading the articles and what he has done, he has fired a lot of cops. I think a reason why that list is out there, and I could be wrong of the cops and Meek's situation, is the list of those cops that don't got credibility. And I think he might be part of that. So, it's just a little notch to what you
Yeah.
said, though. Yep.
And they know too, like with the DA and the voting and all that stuff. And when I say they, I mean like the people, the elites. They know that they have it in their arsenal to know that people won't go out and make a change as far as voting. They know that because what do we say to ourselves? Well, my vote don't matter. The vote don't matter. Look, it's rigged. Look at Russia. It just proved my point. It don't matter. The vote don't matter. So they know that we're not gonna go out there and make those changes on a lower level. Like when I was saying about, instead of the president being the most important, the local election being that important, they know that we're not going to go out there because they've instilled in us, and that goes back to the point with Kanye, see how we full circle and all that, of being broken down mentally, of saying that my vote doesn't matter. And then what happens is that they can have somebody like Trump and say whatever he wants and have these laws get passed and stuff like that. And to your point, thank God that a DA could come along and at least give him this notch that at least he is trying to do something like that and make that change. And I hope that sparks people to see that, wow, there might be somebody that's, I don't want to use the word cool, but somebody that's a DA that's kind of cool in the sense where, like, all right, he gets it
Not
a little
cool,
bit.
understanding.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
That's
This
the word I'm looking
understanding
for.
shit.
Yeah,
I want to ask
yeah.
a question. Do y'all think Kanye trolling, or what y'all think is endgame?
Like,
I don't
do you even
think
think
it's
he's
trolling.
legit with this, or do you
Yeah,
think it's
I-
just,
he's
or
pushing
do
the
you think
album.
he's just pushing his Kanye
I
brand?
won't really ask her.
Because you articulate good points, though.
No, I would
For
say
real.
that at the end of the day, I think
He's very passionate.
it's
yeah.
funny because I've always been told I have Kanye passion, so I'm saying. But no, for real, like I really do think that Kanye means to do something. I think like he wants to see change. I think he's gonna keep trying. I think as long as he continues to watch his words and he's mindful of, the impact of his words and the weight of his words, that, you know, we are going to see something come of this.
Okay. Because he is watching Angela
I mean,
Rye
but I do
more.
think in a little bit, like at least in the beginning when all this first started, he was trolling us a little bit. He was just having
But I
fun
don't
with
think
it.
Kanye has to troll.
But it's fun for him. Y'all know every time he got an album get ready to come out, he goes and does something crazy just to get people to talk about him. But I'm just saying, like, I do think that somewhere, you know, somewhere in his heart and in his mind, he's like, I'm doing something good for myself, my family, my people.
And with somebody
He's
like
so
him,
crazy to me, he might not even know what trolling is.
but if he's going to be as political as
He gonna say I invented that shit because I'm Kanye.
if Kanye's going to be as political as he is, or if he wants to make a movement, if I'm in that movement, I don't want him as my mouthpiece at all. Because I don't trust that he's not going to pop off.
But
and
the
say,
thing is,
you know what I'm saying?
but that goes back to
because
Trump.
he's going to give Arsenal to the man. To
But
be
that
like,
goes
this
back
is
to
your
the
mouthpiece,
Trump
look,
shit
he's nuts.
because
You know what I mean?
Trump is the worst at this shit.
Yo,
It's like, what
that's
the
where you see
fuck?
the-
I'm not even
This
on Twitter.
this is the
I'm not on
relations
Twitter.
is like
The president spends more time on Twitter than me.
right.
Like, I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah.
He's on there. I'm like, damn,
All
I gotta
the
get me
time.
on Twitter.
It's a joke.
Right. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I feel like us as a culture, the black community needs this type of person. We don't gotta sit here and agree with every fucking thing. But one thing I will not do is disown this man.
Right.
Like celebrities have done, and to me personally, is disrespectful. Like you can't just disown him, put your middle finger up to him.
So does
I don't
Michelle
like that.
Are we bringing her back?
Are we bringing her back? We can bring her back.
We threw her away just because she sung one
But
song.
she wasn't Kanye.
Listen,
But I don't.
She didn't step up like Kanye's been on large.
I'm not mad at Chris Steph for singing that
But
song
I'm
though.
just saying,
Like,
but
it's
she
your
just
money.
sung a song and we threw her away.
Right.
Stacey Dash, even though she's crazy,
You know
got
Stacey
black
Dash
on
in
Stacey.
public. She just owned us.
We got black
we
on
threw her
Stacey.
away too.
We got black on Stacey.
Well, but we still.
Kanye's not disowned us. Kanye's trying
Are
to say,
we gonna
listen,
bring her back?
come on, my niggas.
I'm not
Let's
even a
break
fan.
this
I'm not
mentality.
even a
Stacey
fan.
Dash, yeah.
Stacey
Yeah,
Dash.
she disowned this.
That's like
She been
I'm
going so
Yeah.
clueless.
Christmas,
But
Michelle was like,
Omarosa or whatever, she didn't. She never went the full extreme as Stacey Dash, but we threw her ass away too.
oh yeah, because
So all I'm saying is,
grind a lot of
are we
black
gonna bring them
people
all
up.
yeah,
back?
they grinding
Can
black
we just
people
bring them
up.
back?
No,
Are we gonna bring them all back?
why we gotta bring them back? They never
I see
represented
what
us.
you're saying.
Because
now.
Kanye is
No,
is-
Kanye
If you're
represented
gonna
us.
have, if you're gonna do it for one,
Yeah.
then what?
I'm just
But it's a
saying,
different agenda.
If
You-
we
I feel
are
that.
going
I
to
feel that.
say,
Their
look, people
intents
are
are
allowed to
different.
have free
Different.
thought. Just because you black
Yeah.
don't mean you got to be
No.
this or that.
So somebody that
Does
sings
it
that
apply
Trump's
to everybody
inauguration
or
is
just
out,
the
but
ones
somebody
that we
says
really
slavery is a
like?
choice.
No,
That's
but
what
you
I'm
know her
saying.
intent.
Some people just
No, I know.
don't.
So
That's what I'm saying.
Tell me
Yeah,
about it.
right,
I don't
right.
know if
Do you
Stacey
know
Dash
any
will
history
come
of
back.
Chrisette Michelle?
No, tell me. That's what
Right
I'm
now.
saying.
Trolling.
Do we know?
I'm trolling y'all.
Do we know any? Do we know any situation with Chrisette Michelle standing up for us? Do we know any? Do we know any situation where Chrisette Michelle explained herself after that?
I don't think it's that.
She said,
What is it?
I think
I'm not mad at her
at that
getting a check.
moment we was mad.
Get your check.
Get your
I
check.
was at that
She
moment.
just
I
sung a
think the
song.
culture was mad. But
Right,
I don't
right,
think she-
Is that what she was about? Just get the
I'll still listen to Chrisette
Don't nobody
Michelle.
ride with her no more.
Don't nobody. I like
Who
Chrisette
was she
Michelle.
before she did the inauguration?
Right.
She.
Chrisette Michelle.
She
She is right here.
Now I wouldn't be myself if I had something right to say.
That might have made her. That might have made her a little bit more popular.
He was out here trying
She
to
probably
get
got some
that check.
fans out
Probably
there.
like any press is
Yeah.
good press kind of thing.
I too them like.
Right.
But
Another
if she just
thing-
did it for a check then.
Another
But she
thing.
said she didn't get paid for it. I thought on the
Oh,
record.
okay. Well,
Another thing,
she got paid
for
for
me
that.
personally, Jamila, I like the way Kanye's going about, because you said like wait until you ready. For me personally, I like that he's still going through finding himself right now and showing it. I don't think a lot of motherfuckers can do that. So I look at it in a different light.
So you like him being vulnerable?
I like him being like that vulnerable state, because if you look at it, celebrities when they go off the deep end or something like that, they disappear for a while.
you have to be vulnerable to grow.
For him to come back, for me personally, for him to come back and say, "Listen, I'm just."
I think
That's just
part
me
of the,
personally. I respect that.
that's part of the fearlessness
Yeah.
part.
Shoot.
Uh-huh.
I think Kanye know who he is. I think everybody else trying to catch up to where he coming from.
That's
Right.
what I
I think he know.
Because I'm about to say that's a personal
and who
opinion.
he is and his views. views, but everybody else is unsure about what he's
doing. Right.
But then if he's
and that's argument I had with Reese.
though.
I had that same argument with you.
We had it in the beginning, like I said.
Kanye knows where
I was
he at.
on the other
we
side
just
of
might
this.
disagree with it or whatever.
I was on the other side of this.
But Kanye personally might know. We can't say he's not where he at.
Do we know what his agenda is then, or his end game?
Well,
I don't know.
Or we just stay tuned.
I think he's still going through his. Listen, and the sick is right. I still think that's why I say he's still in the vulnerable stage where he's still building himself out. He's what, 40 something? You grow all the time, but he's allowing people in on his growth, whether wrong or right or whatever the case. He's allowing people in, but he does know where he wants to go.
Interview was going good until he said that.
That's all I'm gonna say.
That's the fault.
Yeah,
that's the fault.
That's what I got from the Charlamagne interview. That he really was, though. He was. He opened himself up. He was vulnerable. You did get to see more of Kanye that you've never seen before. At least I haven't, because
more composure too.
Yes, but you just at the end of the day, I don't care who you are. I don't care what color you are. When you are in the limelight, when you have young, impressionable children watching you, when you have racists or people that have strong opinions against X, Y, and Z watching you, you still have to be mindful of your words because they carry weight. And I'm going to keep saying that. They have more weight than all of us. We sitting around, we talking about this. We going to reach a few people. They going to hear it. They going to be like, all right. But nowhere near if Kanye sat here for 2 minutes and said something. Right. So that's my only thing to him is just, speak your truth. But just understand that in speaking your truth, as with anybody else, the same way everybody expected Barack at some point to get up on stage or do a press conference and just bust out, nigga, what? Like, we were waiting for it.
Right.
Like, Kanye just choose your words wisely. And I'm not trying to limit his speech. Free thought, free think, do all that, but just think about it. Just
and know that people
saying that, but disowning them.
No, disown them. That's a different. That's like celebrities disowning them. Yeah. Like I don't like that part. No, what you said is 100% right. Yeah. I don't get that. I don't get the disowning thing of Kanye. That's disrespectful.
Well, you gotta watch what he say because his kids watching. Like you don't want a little kid to be like, "Oh, Dad, if slavery was a choice," you be like, "Yo, watch your mind."
Because they're already changing the textbooks to say they weren't slaves; they were indentured servants. That they had a happy life. And all other stuff.
Really, the white people that came out with
the Irish,
and they had like a time span of being
so that's all.
And also,
that's all I'm
picking
saying.
And choosing his words, like you were saying, and what we said earlier in the beginning of the show. TMZ is going to headline stuff like that. CBS, CNN, especially Fox is going to headline.
Right.
You could say, 499,000 things that are just educated, great, raw, amazing. That one thing that you say, they're going to headline that. So you know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's why I feel like
be who he is, then you got to definitely, like you were saying, he's got to watch that because they're going to headline that. He could have a million great things to say throughout that interview.
And that's the thing.
Something heavy to say, though.
You don't got to agree with everything he does, but to disown him is where I might draw the line. Like, you don't sit here and just disown the... I would say for Kanye because he is one of the most influential artists that we've had in our time.
He's the best.
And he can have that. He should have that confidence.
I'm the best.
I don't doubt him.
He might be one of the most confident people I've ever seen.
I don't doubt him.
And I think that's what the attraction to Trump is. Because no matter if you like Donald Trump, if you like his politics or anything, that is one a hell of a confident man. Whatever. Say what you want about him. He's just
don't care if he's wrong. He be like, I know what I'm talking about. Y'all gonna dig it too.
So I really think that's for me, like that. I see why Kanye sees like, ooh, I like him because he is like you, and that the fact that he just one hell of a confident ass man.
Because he did. They said Kanye didn't even know what the travel ban was. When somebody talked to him,
he was out of tune.
He just seemed
out of tune with what's going on.
That's my problem. Like, make sure you know what you're talking about before you say something.
So he has to work on that. So we about to get out of here. So all of us here, we love you.
Yeah.
You just got.
I'm messing. We
don't all love you. But listen, we not sitting here. We not sitting here. Yeah, right. We not sitting here banning you. Just articulate better. We never ban him. Yeah. And I feel like, me personally, I feel like we need this type of free mind out here. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to vote for 20, whatever you're going to do, be president 2020, 20, whatever, or whatever the case.
Going too far.
He got my vote.
He got my vote for sure.
Hell no.
You crazy, Trump in office. You got my vote, brother. We out.
All right.
Follow us at, first of all, YouTube, The Bid Podcast on our YouTube channel. You can go on iTunes, you can go on iHeartRadio, you can go on SoundCloud, just search The Bid Podcast, and we right there.
And he want to shout his joint out again.
Shout his joint.
Yeah, Mike Jesus, MIC. You know the rest, Jesus. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You know, I got more art or more tracks coming out. You can catch Holding On, Can I Change, Millionaire. Got some spoken word on there too. Just YouTube Mike Jesus.
Watch out for Sick City. He gonna be on this episode soon. He gonna be on one of our episodes soon. But he just got his shit on Tidal. He got his shit on Spotify. It's sick. That's our people's. That's his brother. I just want to shout him out right now because I think that's just major, just to have it on Tidal, Spotify, and shit like that. That's some big shit. So watch out for his shit. I'm gonna be posting it on Instagram so y'all can see his music. All right. Peace.